Yes, sir. Y'all know what time it is. Another episodes of that motherfucking Godcast.
The
As
Gawdscast.
we may be coming for some next. Yeah.
Next.
Yeah. It's that
Oh,
time of the year. But we know you guys got them questions. Keep them things rolling in. Week 11 is on us. And you know what that means for a lot of you guys? That's a trade deadline. So we got some trade targets here for you guys. As always, we are here to help you navigate through the treacherous fantasy season.
I can't spell
Y'all rely on
treacherous.
us, man, for lying.
Yes. Yes, sir. Guys on YouTube, guys on TikTok, go to YouTube. We got me, Justin Henry, and Probot. Man, we're always here turning it up for you guys.
Using
Go
my
answer
government.
your questions and subscribe. Let's go.
Yeah. But yeah, man, how y'all feeling, huh? Hey, Dan, talk to him, man. Let me know how you feeling.
Dude, I'm feeling phenomenal, dude. I'm ready to roll. Had some good wins, had some good losses, but you know what? Hey, we will survive. We will push forward. The fantasy gods are here. We're here, man. Let's go.
Jay, talk to him.
You know, some people try hard to end the gods, but they can't end the gods, baby.
Oh, you can.
No, sir.
Yo, man, it's been kind of crazy weekend on personal standpoint, but then for fantasy too, man. We if you tap in with us, we drop bangers all week, so y'all get some inside info, man. We talked about Christian Watson last week, talking about some other
Ooh.
players tonight. Christian Watson with a boom, man, 3 touchdowns, 32 fantasy points, whatever it was. So, man, I made a trade today. We saw Cooper Kupp go down.
Oh,
There's a lot that
Oh.
happened this weekend, man. So I'm here to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, let's get into it, man. You touched on this. Probably a lot of people's number one pick, if not top 5 pick. My man Cooper Kupp going down. Had surgery. They're calling it a high ankle sprain.
Man.
I mean, let's say that let's say the Cooper Cup owner is fringe playoff team, 7th, 6th, 5th seed or whatnot, and Cooper Cup goes down. Let me know some advice that you got for that person, what they should do. The timetable right now is at minimum 4 weeks. Dan, talk to us, man. Let that person know.
Yeah. So if you guys have Cooper Cup and you're kind of a mid-tier team, I think you have to make a move like instantly. I think that you have to play on the fact that maybe there is a chance that Cooper Cup can come back for the playoffs for you, your fantasy league. And I touched on this before, but I think you have to sell Cooper Cup and just see if you can get something. You sell him to one of the better teams, the teams that have the depth, the teams that are able to think that Cooper Cup could be back, and you trade Cooper Cup for someone. Maybe I'm just saying maybe, but it could happen. Maybe you have a Christian Watson and a Cooper Cup. You trade him for like a Mike Evans, right? Or you trade him for something around that range, so that way you can get a player, lock him in. Because you at the end of the day, you're a middling team. You need to win. It's playoffs or bust. Now's the time.
Yeah, Jay, what's going on? I know you made a trade, and why don't you give me your spiel on that middling team with Cooper Cup,
Yeah.
and then touch on that trade that you did.
Yeah, so first off, I think if you have Cooper Cup right now, if you have a team in the middle, you got to assess your team, right? If you feel like you can be competitive until the playoffs or that you can win games, there's a lot of time left in the season. It's not a lot of time to go find another Cooper Cup because there is no Cooper Cup. But you got another 4 weeks left. So if I'm a middling team, the last resort I'd want to do is to sell Cooper Cup for a guy that can't really impact my roster. But if I can get a startable player at any position, it might be worth it if I'm a middling team because you have to try to make the playoffs. So to me, I'm looking at Cooper Cup as the last chance asset. I'm going to go try to go trade for another player. In my opinion, I think you can go get a Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Hollywood Brown at a more affordable price than you might be able to replicate that wide receiver 2, wide receiver 1 production week to week from Cooper Cup. So you're never going to get elite production like Cooper Cup, but you can go try to target a guy like Keenan Allen, and now you have a wide receiver 1 that you probably can trade for bench pieces, and then in the hopes that Cooper Cup comes back, you have now a wide receiver 1. So I did make a trade earlier, and this was before we found out he was officially going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks, that he was having surgery, which was a little bit more I didn't like that fact, but trade away David Njoku, AJ Dillon, and Christian Watson, who had the big week. I did pick him up. I do what I say. I do what I say. I traded all three of
Shout out
them for
Jay,
Cooper
man.
Kupp.
Shout out Jay. He done called that Christian Watson atom bomb, man. He went nuts. He went nuts. So shout out to my man Jay there. But
You know,
yeah, I give you flowers, son.
the flowers gotta come.
They gotta
need
come
the
after
flowers.
this week you done went through, man. Them flowers gotta come, huh?
Man, they tried to kill me over the try hard stuff, man. And obviously, I was on another platform talking about it. We talked about it here on the show at length. And I think the universal thing is in fantasy, we know these guys. We know who they are, right? We know that they're athletes. But we know in fantasy, there's different types of players. Not everybody is an elite talent. And so, it's not to beat a drum or anything, but some guys got to work a little bit harder. Some guys are 60th percentile out of 99th percentile when they do their combine metrics. It is what it is. He's a volume guy. Damian Pierce, we talked about him, and I think we saw a little bit of that on Sunday. He needs volume to do work for your team. There's more. It's not just him. There's others who fall in that category. So it ain't
It's not a. I mean, at the end of the
not.
day, like there's labels to fantasy players, right? There's injury prone, there's boomer bust. I mean, there's guys that are just elite superstars, right? I mean, so what's the big deal to me? I don't see the big deal. We just, I guess we're just ahead of the curve when it comes to lingo or whatever, man. Like everywhere, everybody is going to talk about try hard. I'll keep it real. Like this is
they already are.
Yeah.
That's the rest of the season and things beyond, because we always talked about injury prone or boomer bust. Like this is just the next evolution of words. Okay,
Me and P.
Stop getting your feelings hurt. We're fine. We're
Yeah.
still going to give you good content. We're still going to make sure that you win, and you just keep following the page, keep watching, and keep asking for advice, and we're going to give that to you.
Keep running up them comments with the try hard comments. P, tell them a little bit about it, bro, because I talk and motherfuckers want to get mad. So, P, you got the voice of the people, man. Talk to them.
Yo, I'm going to tell you guys like this, man. Me and Jay, we've been using try hard since like 08, 09,
like
you know what I'm saying?
mid-2000s.
Yeah, and it's been crazy because like it's all it is a term to describe a category of player, right? And I don't know when it's got so offensive, why everybody's like, he's in the NFL, he's supposed to try hard. No shit, y'all. We've never been a PC type channel. We've never been a PC brand. So if you guys are offended, I'm sorry. But you can either choose to be offended, or you can choose to take that knowledge for what it is. Understand that this is a term of somebody who will work, do a lot of carries and a lot of stuff. And if they don't score a touchdown, then they're just going to get those, 110 yards, which is like 11 points. Whereas you got some other players who, like, for example, the complete opposite of a tryhard is Austin Eckler. He didn't have a good game at all against the Niners. If you're watching the football game, we had him locked up. He still ended up with 16, 18 points because they're targeting him in the catching game, right? In the passing game, he's a big factor. He gets his fantasy points with ease, complete opposite of a try-hard. Well, even though he is trying hard in the NFL.
Right. And you could say the same thing about waiver players, right? Mm-hmm. Like, he's on waivers. Like, I think that's more worse than someone calling someone a tryhard. Like, you're on waivers, bro. You don't even get to my bench. Like, you're that player. But we know that dude works hard. He's trying to get paid for his kids and his family. Like, what are we talking about? Every time I see someone comment, oh, he's a waiver player, well, that's worse than a tryhard. So to me, like, stop the cap, bro. Like, there's just so many
fake outrage.
There's so much feelings for no reason.
Stop the cap, stop the fake outrage, but more so stop the motherfucking tears. Like, let's get real. We're growing up over here. You understand me? So,
tears, man.
But with that being said, man, we're gonna keep using that term to explain to y'all what a tryhard is. But my man right here, yo. So go all in on Watson on waivers. Jay, I'm gonna let you take this one, man. What do you think about that? You called him. Oh wait, no, Watson. No, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna let you talk about that because he was talking about
we're
him
not
too.
spending all of our. You don't go all in on a guy like Christian Watson. This is an upside play though. So if you have that number one waiver spot and you lost to Cooper Cup, or maybe you're losing in the records right now, this looks to be Aaron Rodgers' guy. And maybe he's not Allen Lazard. He's not going to be as consistent. He's going to have a lower floor, but Christian Watson is going to have a piece of this offense, big play wise and in the red zone. So while I don't think he's a wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2, I think he's going to be in that Gabe Davis category where he could be a wide receiver 3, boom or bust, and have potential, a flex option at best. So I'm not going all in on a player like that because chances are by the time fantasy playoffs start, you have another receiver that can do what Christian Watson does. You probably have 3 receivers better than Christian Watson. I save the all-in moves for running backs because running backs they come and go a little bit easier.
Right.
And clarify if you're talking about Christian Watson or Deshaun Watson. But in the event that it's Chris Watson, most likely because
It has to be Christian Watson.
Yeah, he had went crazy. So, Damian Pierce is not a try. Smooth. Damian Pierce is not a try. Smooth, what up? If he is, then maybe he has to be, since he's on one of the worst offenses in the league. Again, bro, you're missing the goddamn point, Smooth. It has nothing to do with him having to try as hard as he can because his team is bad. Again, bro, the term try hard is centered around somebody who puts out a lot of effort for minimal gain, right? That's not a knock against who he is as a player or his team. It's just a matter of a person, a category you can place a person in terms of fantasy value. Okay, so
it's a joke. It's a lighthearted ass joke, bro. Like I think people are taking try hard as like we don't think like me and Dan were talking about it. Like it's like they shouldn't be in the league. Like nah, bro. Like we know what it is for real football. We all have a vast knowledge of the game, like more so than most of the people that join our shit. That's why you guys fuck with us heavy because we have the information. So at the end of the day, man, like it's a comment. It's fantasy football. If you say somebody's a bust in fantasy football, you're hurting their feelings. No. If I say Damian Pierce is a tryhard, does he give a shit about my opinion? He shouldn't. Otherwise, he is a tryhard.
Yeah, and use that term try hard more so as like, okay, somebody who has more perceived value than actual fantasy value, right? Like if you take a Damian Pierce, that's more of, a lot of people are going to look at that wide-eyed at this point in his career, right? At this point in the season.
I think a lot of people see Damian Pierce as a low-end RB1. Like no, he's not an RB1. He may lead the league in rushing or be top 5, whatnot, but he's not an RB1 for fantasy, right? So
right.
I think I think that little segment right there is where when you're talking about, I'm just going to jump on P's bandwagon here, but it's just the perception of name and the perception of, hey, he breaks all these tackles. He had 139 yards on 27 carries, yada, yada, yada. But he's an RB2. Like, what do you want me to do, man? Like, I think that's kind of what it is.
This is going to be my last thing on Damian Pierce for this show today. I'm sure it'll come back up. But we look at what he did. He had a 44-yard run. And outside of that, it wasn't a whole lot. He had a fumble on the goal line, trying to fight for extra yardage. It's just, when we look at what he does overall, it doesn't always equate out to fantasy purposes because he's trying to do all this on a team that doesn't get the ball in the red zone a whole lot. He doesn't score a whole lot of touchdowns, doesn't catch a lot of passes. The term try hard isn't universal. It's not like something we can just throw on a ton of players. There's not every player that fits in this category. There's specific type of players that fit in this. And unfortunately, Damian Pierce, for fantasy purposes, fits in this category. That's probably the last thing I'm going to say on the show about try hard ass Damian Pierce.
Yeah, we'll see. But but yeah, I mean, we can move on for right now. There are some other injury news that is relevant to fantasy. We've seen our man your guys' man Jerry Jeudy get hurt, go down, get carted.
He had a wide open TD too.
Yeah, that's tough, bruh. That's tough. But we also seen Leonard Fournette go down. But is there any significant implications from the Jerry Jeudy injury? I know the obvious one is Sutton, but majority of those leads he's picked up. Dan, who are you picking up from waivers to make up for that?
Well, I think it just depends on who's on waivers. What do you got? I think Christian Watson's going to be your number one probably waiver ad this week. And you just look at the production and upside that he carries week to week. Not saying that he has a very low floor, but very high ceiling. I think you could also look into Allen Robinson would be someone that I would look into. Doesn't carry quite the upside. Just because Stafford's still in the concussion protocol. Kadarius Toney should still be on waivers in most leagues. So that would be someone that I would be interested in. Justin made a great point on the other show, but Hardman was out, Juju was hurt, but I think that the NFL is about opportunity, right? And you have to make your opportunity shine when you get the opportunity, and Kadarius Toney did. So now the Chiefs, they have to honor that. They see the upside, they see the potential, and I think that Mahomes wants more. He just doesn't want Travis Kelce and no one else. Like he wants talent on the field. So and they traded for him. So that means to me like they believe in him. He can produce at a high level. He's very explosive. So to me, I think Kadarius would be my guy. I think you don't have to overspend like you would on Christian Watson. I think you can get Kadarius Toney for cheap and possibly better production rest of the season.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. Kadarius Toney, he his talent is showing through with the limited opportunity that he has. So that window has to open up more. Just the way that he was balling, though, he made it honestly look a little bit more effortless than that of like a Mecole Hardman or even Juju. Like on that little comeback route where he was like shook, dude, adjusted his gloves midair and then caught the rock.
Tough.
Like that was filthy, bro. Like that was nasty. That's talent. Now, going back to the Jerry Jeudy question, I should have been more clear, but I'm referencing like anybody on Denver. Do you anticipate stepping up and being more fantasy relevant that you can target specifically on Denver?
I would just say Greg DeLuche is the only one that I could think of, someone that probably will be on waivers. Especially if you need help at the tight end position. He's put together some games. He obviously had a bust game last week. But it's tough. Denver is not looking good. Like the whole season's not looking good. I think it's going to be Cortland Sutton and no one else really. It's going to be tough for Denver. I'm not racing to the waivers. Let me get all the Denver guys. Like no,
KJ Hamler.
I'm not a fan. I think you could look elsewhere.
Yeah, I don't really see a whole lot with this Denver offense, and they need Jerry Jeudy back. He was the guy who was shining for him. I can see Cortland Sutton with a slight uptick just by volume purposes, but I don't really think he's going to put together an elite stretch here for Denver.
Yeah, another injury I didn't mention was Zach Ertz out
tough,
for the year, bro. Like that was a lot of people's main target or main tight end. Just from the surrounding players on his team, who's going to benefit the most from that?
Well, I think you got to touch on the fact that Rondale Moore saw an increased workload. So Rondale Moore, obviously, but then the return of Hollywood Brown, too. It's just going to open up more targets for this team. D-Hop's the biggest beneficiary of all. They just continue to feed him, and so D-Hop is their guy. But I can see things getting spread around between Rondale Moore, and I actually think they might go to the run game a little bit more, even though they just let go of Benjamin. James Conner looks good. It looks like he's back to at least being an RB2 for fantasy purposes. So I think it's going to spread around. I don't think it's any one person. Zach Ertz was a unique piece to this team, and I think it'll be a little bit more of what we saw early from last year with the Cardinals. Kyler using his legs too, when that hammy gets right.
When that hammy gets right, man. When that hammy gets right. So second half Kyler, man, we're seeing him in action.
You said it last week.
But yeah, how the comments doing on TikTok, man? You want to address some of those?
Let's address some comments real quick. Hey guys, again, thanks for following on TikTok. Go ahead and get us over to YouTube. Go subscribe over there. We are live. Me, Justin, and Prabhat. All three of us. You guys can see all the shows. But I'm going to go ahead and answer a few of the most recent ones. I apologize if I missed you. Is Rachaad White now better than Lenny? I have both. I liked Rachaad White in Dynasty. I thought he was my number 2 ranked rookie running back coming out for Dynasty, my number 3 in redraft. I think that Rachaad White is better as just a player than Lenny, based on his elusiveness in the passing game. I really do believe that he has better hands. And Leonard Fournette is who he is. He's kind of like that bolder. I'll get you 17 carries for 80 yards and possibly a touchdown. But Rachaad White has that upside. A lot of six catches. Total of 100 yards total and 2 touchdowns. Like that could be his upside for Rachaad White. So there's also reports that he says that coming off the bye, they will make a change and they will put Rachaad White there. And keep in mind, you have to think Brady loves smaller pass catching, quick twitch guys. He's always had that. Now in the playoffs, he's had kind of little bowling balls, but I like Rachaad White over Lenny moving forward. And let's see, should I trade Kamara and Waddle for Derrick Henry? I wouldn't do that. That's too much for
That's a
Derrick
lot.
Henry. I think you got to keep that depth. Lamar Jackson 047. And would you trade CMC for AJ Brown and Ken Walker? I think it just depends on the makeup of your team. If you need a little bit of depth, that's not too bad for CMC. But CMC is a superstar, so I usually tend to just keep those guys. There's no real reason to trade those guys. We talked about it earlier. And then the last question I got from Hayden, do I accept this trade? I received Jacobs, Sutton, Olave, Everett. I'm giving away Kittle, Cook, Palmer, and Mike Williams. Mike Williams. I think that's an okay trade, but I probably wouldn't do that. I like Mike Williams coming back off of injury. I like Kittle just as a tight end because, again, it's hard to find tight ends. And then Dalvin Cook, I'm keeping Dalvin. So that's where I have it.
Straight up. Okay, let's go to some of these comments on YouTube here. Christian Watson or Mecole Hardman? Jay, what you think?
Watson. I think the upside is just there with Watson. Kadarius Toney coming in probably messed things up. So I think Hardman has a role. It's just Watson has the upside. Sometimes you want to chase a little bit of upside with your fantasy lineups. Give me Watson.
Facts. Dan, you think it different?
No, go get Christian Watson. For me, Kadarius Toney is on his way up. Hardman's on his way down.
All right. So would big boy Najee be considered a try hard? This is a good one, Jay. Now last year I would say no, right? But this year, and the reason I would say no last year is because he was seeing a lot of work in the receiving game, right? He was getting those goal line touches, double-digit touchdowns, hella catches, I think 70 plus.
Mm-hmm.
We're not seeing that this year, not getting a lot of catches, struggling to get any holes in that line. Is he considered a try hard? Jay, what do you think?
It's funny because I think the word try hard, we're going to have to come up with like a God's definition of it because Najee is also talented. We're just not seeing the production this year. I think in a different system, we get more out of Najee, but it's like out of Dameon Pierce, I don't think we. So like the term try hard, we got to consolidate it because otherwise it's going to get stretched out. Najee has talent. Right now, this season, I call him a try hard. If I had to call him this year, anything, he's trying hard to get his yardage. He's not getting the fantasy points. He would fall in there this year. As a player, I would not call Najee a try hard because he does have elite measurables.
I don't know if he has elite measurables. I mean, he's just big. I mean, he's never had a high yards per carry, never had really good vision.
Well, college.
in college, I mean, Dan, what do you think? You want to take a little stab at that?
Well,
He got hands
he does
too,
have.
right?
He
got hands, yeah.
He was an elite measurable type of guy. I mean, he ran a 4.53 at his pro day at 232 pounds. So I mean, I really can't knock the guy there.
It was Dameon Pierce a 4.66?
Dameon Pierce was a 4.59 at 224 pounds. So the speed is there with Najee Harris. He's
like 5'5".
He's an athlete, right? But yeah, regardless of whether or not you're an athlete, you have the vision, and it seems like right now Najee Harris does not have that. He's not shown that throughout his career. He's what is he, a career 3.7 yards per carry?
Yeah, 3.8, something like that.
And that's bad. Like, that's not doing good. He was saved by his catches.
Turning into a try hard.
Morphing. All right, my man Tanner Nelson, what's good? Put these wide receivers in order, full PPR rest this season. T. Higgins, Jalen Waddle, Tyler Lockett, Chris Godwin, and Scary Terry.
I absolutely hate rest of the season rankings at this point in the year. Like, what's the point of doing rest of the season rankings right now? Because if I put T Higgins over Jalen Waddle because he already had his bye, you guys are gonna look at me crazy. Like, there's rest of the season rankings if you have below a 500 record and above a 500 record, because some players are more valuable if you need to win games. Others are more valuable if you need fantasy playoff matchups. So to do rest of the season rankings and full PPR, to me, it's not valuable for you guys, to be real.
Well, let's assume.
I'll go ahead and rank them. It's Waddle.
Yeah,
Higgins,
it's not. No, it's not. It's
McLaurin, Lockett. There you go. You're welcome.
Yeah, say that again, Dan. Say that again.
Waddle,
Dan.
Higgins, Godwin, McLaurin, Lockett. There you go.
Yeah, with the assumption that let's not factor in bye weeks. Yeah, I mean, I would go that same route. Jalen Waddle, I have him edging out T. Higgins, Godwin, Lockett, and Scary Terry. Yep, I would do the same way. I don't know, Jay. You scared to answer the question, or what's up, Jay?
It's Waddle T. I mean, if you just go on face value, Jalen Waddle, T. Higgins, Godwin, McLaurin, then Lockett. Lockett's at the back end of me.
There we go.
Yeah.
3 for 3. Let's go.
Smoothie.
We be wildin', bro.
Smooth, man. Always smooth, bro. I love that dude, man. Cool.
Just traded Foreman and Palmer for Godwin. I get a dub or an L. I think I see that as a dub. I don't see Palmer returning any value rest of the season once the starters come back. So I'm looking at this as Foreman for Godwin, and I would take Godwin.
Yeah. That's simple consolidation.
Yep. All right, Dante Jones was good. What do you guys think? Traded Mixon and Chase for CD and Sanders. Now my team is Allen, Taylor, Jacobs, Hopkins, Amon-Ra, Kittle, CD, bench, Schultz, Christian Kirk, Sandals, and Lazard. I'll give you a dub because you got Lazard. But I wouldn't have done that deal.
No, I wouldn't have done that deal either.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done that deal. The only thing that you could say is if Chase does not return the rest of the season, that may be a deal that'd be okay with, based on you have Taylor and Jacobs as your running back core, and then you just wanted to add CD. So CD now replaces Chase. You get him in your lineup. But I mean, yes, we had the report, maybe you traded him today, but there was a report that says Chase is nowhere near or ready to come back. So it's not going to be this week. He will not return after the bye, which we all thought that maybe he would return. He will not return. So I think at the end of the day, if you really feel that Chase is not going to be here longer than the next 3 or 4 weeks, then maybe you want the deal. But I would not have done that deal.
Jamar Chase will not return in Avengers 4.
Drop CEH for Pacheco. Yes. Drop CEH for Pacheco, bruh. Got 0 work in last week. Pacheco got 16 carries. Looking lightweight, try hardish, but 16 carries is 16 carries, more so than CEH.
This is just a real quick point on that. Isaiah Pacheco's a guy you can pick up, and the Chiefs have a very soft fantasy playoff schedule. So I know you don't want to trust any Chiefs running back, but it seems like it's only a 2-man committee right now with Pacheco and with McKinnon. Clyde wasn't seeing any kind of work yesterday, so I like Pacheco a little bit more than McKinnon. McKinnon is also there, but Pacheco looks like he's starting to take over.
So with Pacheco, assuming he's out there with Christian Watson and others, are you prioritizing him? Like, let's say if you have the number 1 waiver wire pick.
It depends on my team. I would go running back more so than wide receiver if I was prioritizing any position, because it's better to find a running back right now off of waiver wires than it is. Receivers are probably more wide receiver 3-ish. But I would go Rachaad White, Isaiah Pacheco, Brian Robinson's also up there as well.
In that order?
In that order, yes. Rachaad White, Pacheco, Brian Robinson.
Yeah, obviously if they're available, most savvy owners, those guys are pretty much picked up, especially Rachaad White. I mean, I think, we talked about the handcuffs that you need to handcuff. We said if you draft Leonard Fournette, you have to get Rachaad White. I said it. If you draft Clyde Edwards, you need to pick up Pacheco. Like, We
Yeah.
give you the gems, bro. You just have to listen. You just have to
Fournette,
follow
huh?
us, man.
Somebody was talking about him this offseason.
Really not that hard.
Somebody was dropping gems on Fournette this offseason, huh?
Somebody was. I don't know who it was on the page. I'll have to go take a look. Somebody, was talking about Fournette might not be worth his draft capital. But
really
I got a
not.
little hate for that one, but still.
But
Not
still.
hard, folks.
All right.
Not hard.
Deluge had a big play or two potential, but Russ overthrew him. I mean, that's just the state of these motherfucking Broncos right now, man.
Facts.
They don't know what they just ain't got it together, man. So Jones for Waddle. I have Stevenson and Kamara as my other RBs. Aaron Jones for Jalen Waddle. I would do that. I'd pull that trigger. And the reason I'm pulling that trigger, is Aaron Jones primarily has like inconsistency written all over him. He has blow up games, then he has some duds. Just got through a few blow up games, so I'm forecasting a few duds. Get yourself some Jalen Waddle. Yeah. So, does Cup have a realistic chance to be back? I was just offered Higgins for him. I would take that. I'm dealing with a few things. I mean, a lot of people are, right? I'm making offers, putting them in for Cup.
Hang on. He said he was offered him for Higgins.
Yeah, like he would have to give up
He'd have to give up
Higgins to get Cooper Cup.
Yeah.
No. I wouldn't do
I was
that.
like, hold on.
I wouldn't do
Oh
that.
my bro, hold on. I need
I
this
was saying, if
explanation
somebody's
real quick,
giving you-
bro.
Yeah, if somebody's giving you Higgins for Cooper Cup, yeah, jump all over that. But no, I mean, if we go back to that Cooper Cup thing, that's the Rams aren't in a good position just as a football team, right? They're on the outside looking in. Don't look like they're going to make the playoffs. Quarterback's hurt. What are they really playing for? Do they have to rush Cooper Cup back?
No, I wouldn't be shocked if they shut him down the entire season. There really isn't a reason for it. But remember, the Rams said F them picks, right? Like they don't have a first, so maybe they do need to win so that their pick isn't too bad. So to me, we'll see what happens with Cooper Cup. But I would be shocked if he comes back this year.
The only way I could see him coming back is if the Rams somehow pull off a couple games. This NFC West isn't too far gone. Like the Niners and Seahawks are up there, but it's not too far gone to where if the Rams pull off 3 wins here in the next 4 or 5 weeks, like they might be within striking distance. Cooper Cup, the Rams play Thursday night on week 14, and then the first week he's eligible back, they play Thursday night, and then the very next week they play Monday night, which is a 10-11 day window or whatever it is. If he's going to come back, I think it would be at that point. Otherwise, he'll be shut down.
Yikes. Yeah, I mean, right now they're sitting last in the division, although that division is nobody's running away with it as it seems. Niners look good, but it's still close record-wise. So
For sure. I'm going to get over to TikTok real quick. Again, if you guys are still watching on TikTok, man, thank you guys for following along. Go ahead and give us a follow as well on the page. Come over to YouTube. That's where we have me, Justin, and Prabhat all ready to answer you guys' questions. I appreciate all you guys that are following right now. Thank you so much. Help us get to 50K on TikTok. My boy Justin just passed 20K, so let's shout outs to Justin.
Man, that happened quick
that
too.
was a fast little 10K right there the last few days, huh?
That's what happens when you catch a little hate and you prove motherfucking haters wrong.
Man. So just a few. Do I claim Allen Robinson or Van Jefferson? I think that either one isn't too bad. I think that the safe play is going to be Allen Robinson. You want the upside to go with Van Jefferson. Mark Andrews and Thielen for CD and Miles Sanders.
Bless you.
What's that?
He said, "Hut shoot." So I had to bless him.
Yeah. Go ahead and do that. I'm taking CD and
You
Sanders.
blessed me with a trade, man. Stuff gonna bless my sneeze, bro.
I give up Justin Jefferson. Never. But I receive AJ Brown and CMC. You pull that.
Do that, yeah. He said, "Never do that." You doing that?
Yeah.
Who'd he get? Who's he getting?
CMC, AJ Brown.
CMC for Justin
Oh
Jefferson.
yeah.
That's
Oh
funny.
yeah.
Casper, Romo, Fields, and Komet for Kelsey or Waddle. Would you trade both of those guys for Kelsey? I would for Kelsey. But you have to understand that how is your quarterback situation? Can you afford to lose Fields, who's running incredibly hot, and Komet, who's kind of coming on at this point? So, but at the end of the day, when you can acquire Kelsey, man, sometimes you just got to go ahead and pay up for the Lord, Kelsey. Steve Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Do I drop Herbert for Fields? I think you got to drop Herbert for Fields at this point. Fields is running lordy hot.
You said drop Herbert for Fields?
Would you?
Drop Justin Herbert for Fields?
Really good.
Are we doing that right now, Dan?
Really good segue, y'all. Really
Let's
good
go.
segue.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it,
this.
man. So we're gonna get into some buy low, sell highs, right? And although it's great to have Justin Field going stupid the last 5-6 weeks or whatever it was, me and Jay was talking about this earlier. And I'll let you have it, Jay. It seems like you're a little eager, but go ahead and talk about Justin Fields and Herbert, right? Go ahead and give your spill.
So I think this is actually the perfect time if you have Justin Fields to go trade for a guy like Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert's been without his number one receiver and number two receiver now for the last couple of weeks, but without his number one receiver for a majority of the season. And we've seen Kyler Murray. We saw what he looked like without DeAndre Hopkins versus when he came back. And that's most quarterbacks. A lot of quarterbacks need just Jalen Hurts. We're seeing it with the number one receiver. We're seeing Justin Fields improve now that Chase Claypool's there. So a lot of times that number one receiver can help out a quarterback. So to me, when I look at Justin Herbert, I know Keenan Allen's expected back this week. Mike Williams expected back here in the next week or two. This is the perfect opportunity, whereas Justin Fields has had some really good matchups against Detroit and just played at an elite level when it comes to running the football, but he has a Week 14 bye. He has tough playoff matchups. So this might be the opportune time to trade away an elite player and get Herbert with another piece for a guy like Justin Fields.
Okay.
That's my thought on it, man.
Yeah. Now you're talking about his schedule. So you mentioned that he had a kind of a softer schedule. You think his fantasy production is conducive of his soft schedule as of recent?
I think at times when you play a defense like Detroit, versus a team that's a little bit more disciplined, when you're talking about, well, not Philly on Monday, but you're talking about Philly, you're talking about Buffalo, who he plays in Week 15 and 16. Those are a little bit more disciplined teams that are going to come prepared and ready for whatever running he has. Now, can they stop it fully? No. And are we trading Justin Fields because I think he's going to get shut down and not perform during the fantasy playoffs? Absolutely not. But what it does is it limits your risk, right? There's a probability, slightly higher possibility that Justin Fields has a worse day fantasy-wise when you play against those teams. The numbers speak for it. So that's what I'm addressing more so than I think he's going to shut him down.
You got any comments on that, Dan?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that's look. We're very good at flipping players. Like that's kind of the thing that we do here, and this is what we teach you guys to do if you follow our page. And I think that hey, you have to do these types of things to win championships, right? But these other types of things can backfire, right? So like you're trading a guy or you're dropping a guy for a guy that really just hasn't hit his stride. Is not doing well for a guy that's 20 points, 40 points. Like you just kind of sometimes you just got to roll with the winners. And Justin Fields right now is rolling with those winners. And to me, maybe Herbert is still going to be on waivers next week, or you bench Herbert, you pick up Fields, and you bench your other backup quarterback, whoever that was. Maybe that's Aaron Rodgers, or maybe that's Mariota, who I think Mariota was someone that you probably should have sold high on and move forward, because I think Mariota is a guy who we all thought he was. He's like, look, he's better than a few backups, but essentially he's a backup quarterback. And to me, I think that or a Geno Smith would have been a guy you sell high on. Whereas Fields, he was a young prospect, had elite measurables coming out. I ranked him as my QB2. I'm still, hey, at the beginning, it was kind of a bust factor, but hey, it takes a while for quarterbacks to do their thing. And
I like this Justin combo, man. We talking about some elite Justins here, man. We talk about Justin.
We mentioned one elite Justin.
Fields or Herbert? Which one? Or Henry? All elite. Yeah.
Justin.
Hey.
Justin's taking over. Jefferson.
Hey, hella Justins. But I'm gonna tell you like this. I'm gonna tell you like this though. To comment on what you was talking about, Jay, he has tore up some really good defenses in this last stretch. So he ate up the Pats. right? Now the Pats may have not seen it coming because that's when he started implementing that's when they started running hella
Yeah.
design run plays for him. But then he came back and really ate up the Cowboys fantasy wise too,
Right.
right? So, he did a number on the Dolphins, and then most recently the Bears or the Lions, which are trash. But I don't know that. I really don't know that because he goes up against the Jets, which is a really good defense, the Eagles coming up, the Bills. I don't know that he would be completely just like, or not even that you're saying completely going to shut down, but I don't know that he would just be tapered off because it's hard trying to defend a guy like that, even if they have not many weapons. Oh, Nas, we're talking about this right now too. So, which is the segue. What can you get for Fields? Because I do see him as a sell high. Do I think he's going to be the number one QB moving forward? No. Does the rest of the league and based off what they're seeing? Most likely, right? So if we're talking about trading Justin for Justin, and you're talking about Justin Fields, you can go and target somebody who is struggling like Justin from the Chargers, and primarily for this reason he's elite, right? He's an elite passer. He has these skills. He has weapons, all of which are coming back relatively soon. So
Well,
if you got somebody like that,
even better, like this question, instead of trading him for another quarterback, if you already have Kyler Murray, you know he's a QB1. So you could trade Justin Fields for another startable piece. You talking about a guy who may have struggled, like a Kenneth Walker didn't put up the numbers you thought, and he's on a bye this week. You talk about a guy like DeAndre Swift. You talk about a guy like Mike Evans. You might be able to throw some offers out there to get you another elite, talented player. Go buy low on Jamar Chase with a Justin Fields and get another quarterback or another talent with that. Like, you can trade Justin Fields for a lot of pieces that can help your fantasy team, especially if you already have a quarterback that can do 20 plus.
that's facts. That's facts. Target a tight end too. Now you keep talking about Swift. I'm not high on Swift at all.
I know you're not.
I'm not high
Talk
on
about
Swift
it.
at all. I mean, like we've been talking about this, or I've been talking about this. Swift is just not it, man. Like, although he's talented, he does a lot of he's trying to always break it for the long run when the coach needs like a solid 4 right there. He's always running backwards. His vision is not good. He's electric, yes. He's talented, yes. His vision, not there. Coaches, from a real football perspective, coaches get tired of that shit, right? So that's why you are seeing Jamal Williams doing what he's been doing and as impactful, which I said too in the beginning of the year, he's not just a backup. It's more of a 50-50 split in that backfield there. But you're seeing him there for a reason. Even though he's not as talented, he can get you 4 or 5 yards, 3 or 4 yards when they need those type of yards, opposed to trying to bounce it out, bounce it, cut back, and then lose 4 yards. So in terms of real football, that's impactful because the coaches aren't going to give him as many opportunities based off of that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Fuck Swift.
Okay,
Fuck
Pete.
Swift.
Yeah.
Okay, P.
To me, dude, no. Swift he's an immense talent in my opinion. I think that he is Kamara light in a moving forward. He's 23 years old. He's a young cat. He's getting off an injury. But the thing is about Swift, he's efficient at what he does. He is not a tryhard. The guy he averages 7.1 yards a carry when it comes to yards per touch. He's the number one guy. He's the number one in yards created per touch. And that's, if you guys don't know, that's all yards above and beyond what was blocked per carry and the reception generated by the runner after the first evaded tackle. So to me, I love DeAndre Swift. I think it's the perfect time to buy. If we want to talk about buying low on a guy, go buy low on DeAndre Swift both in redraft and in dynasty. You have to go do those things.
This feels like Jonathan Taylor. Like, everybody was like, oh, Jonathan Taylor's done. He's not the RB1 anymore. He can't. And it's just like situations change on a week-to-week basis. You buy elite talent. And like you mentioned, DeAndre Swift's elite talent. We've seen him as that. And a lot of guys actually projected DeAndre Swift to be the kind of guy that would come in and be a top 10 running back on the season. We know the potential's there. When it comes to Swift, you're not going to get him at a lower value because he's coming off of this injury. Once he shows it on the field again, all bets are off.
Yeah. Sorry for those technical difficulties, but
He was over there trying to get all with the purpose. You heard me?
You hurt me.
That hurt.
That
All right.
hurt me.
Anyway, let's move forward. Let's fire off some questions. But at the end of the day, it's time for us to wrap it up for the night. For
Yes,
me,
sir.
at least. I'm gonna wrap up some TikTok, and then I'm out. You guys can finish up the YouTube, man. TikTok, man. Thank you guys again for following us. Go follow us on the pages of YouTube as well. You got my band Justin and Pravat. There's to answer you guys' questions. Mixing for ETN and Higgins. I think you could sell that. I'm good with that. Collecting Higgins, especially if Jamar Chase is not coming back anytime soon. You got Higgins locked and loaded for low wide receiver one production. I have Burrow, CMC, JT, Diggs, Palmer, Boyd, Chase, Walker, and Patterson. So I'm trying to secure a tight end. Where's your trade? I don't see it. Ask it again. All right, Swift for Stevenson. I would not be trading Swift for Stevenson. That's just me. I think Stevenson is that RB2 that he's always is. I think it's a good time to buy low on Swift. You could probably get Swift and for Stevenson at this point, and I think to pay dividends later on. Thanks for the follow, Jay Guys 11. Receive JT for Kittle and Damian Pierce. Fuck it. Yes, 1,000%. I would do that. Go get Jonathan Taylor.
Oh, yeah.
The upside there. Tony, Christian Watson, or DJ Moore. God, it hurts me to say, but I think Watson is going to be the play there. DJ Moore is a perennial RB wide receiver 3, and Watson is locked and loaded wide receiver 3 with immense upside. So I think you got to go the upside on that one. Najee or Pickens for DK. Would you trade Najee and Pickens and acquire DK Metcalf? Has it gotten this bad? Like
Najee Pickens for DK?
I'm taking DK like for redraft.
I'm taking DK too. Yeah.
I'll take DK.
Okay, man.
Fuck Najee.
Yeah. So that's last one here. Waiver wire QB and is for drop. What do we got going on, man? You got to ask that question again. That's all bad. Do I trade?
to try hard on the live right now, or
Dan
what?
trying hard to read.
Trying hard to read these types of sentences are all grammared out. Mad. Who wins? Geno, Myers, Lockett, or Lamb and Schultz? I think Lamb and Schultz. Stevenson and Keenan Allen for Dalvin Cook and Deontay Johnson. Yes, go get Dalvin Cook straight up, and Deontay Johnson can get Deontay Johnson. Keenan Allen can get Deontay Johnson's production. So I'm out, guys. You guys have a good night. Peace.
All right, my man. Couple more minutes here. Couple more minutes. Yeah, we gonna wrap it up like you said, man. P. Josh Jacobs, Justin Herbert, Debo for Jettas.
That's a lot for Jettas. Yeah, I mean, depending on what you need, that's not a bad haul for Jettas. I'm as a Jettas owner, I'm always going to want more, but that's not a bad haul for Jettas, especially if you're light on QB. I like Josh Jacobs. Not as high on Debo. A lot of mouths to feed over there on the Niners. And I wanted to talk about CMC as well a bit, but not a bad haul for Jettas.
Yeah. Should I start Pierce or Jones this week since Eno Benjamin got signed to the Texans? Eno Benjamin's not going to be too big of a factor. He's more of a replacement for Rex Burkhead. So if you had like Rex Burkhead in a 16-man league, then I'd be concerned. But when it comes to Eno Benjamin, he's not going to throw Pierce's value off tremendously. But I'm still going Aaron Jones all day, like Aaron Jones over Pierce.
Yeah. All right, got Debo and Isaiah McKenzie for James Conner. Not a Debo fan, but I had terrible news that Cup went down today. I mean, not a bad turnout. Yeah, definitely.
Would you trade Patterson and Waddle for Godwin and Waddle, and Godwin for Henry and Kirk? To me, I would take the Henry and Kirk side. It's a lot to give up, but I like getting a solid running back right now at this stage. And Christian Kirk's been a wide receiver too. Obviously, you're getting Waddle and Godwin away. I don't know. Maybe it's a little heavier than I think, but I'd still take the Henry and Kirk side to be real.
Yeah, I mean, you want to get the best player. I do like Waddle, and I'm not as low on Patterson as others too. But anytime he could get like a top 5 running back, especially this year, go ahead and do it.
Turn me up, Nico.
All right, I have Diggs, ETN, Zeke. Just lost Cup. Should I trade Devontae Adams and Zeke for Saquon and Sutton? I also have Dobbins, Edwards, Eli Mitchell on the bench. Trading Devontae Adams and Zeke for Saquon. I mean,
You need some help, huh?
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, your wide receivers seem light, so I don't know why you would trade Devontae Adams
Well, he just lost
in
Cup.
that
That's why he
case.
was stacking up. He stacked up Cup and Devontae. He was looking towards the ship, and he had. Oh my God, you had Diggs, Cup, and Devontae. Sorry, bro. You had the perfect setup, dog.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
they just
Injuries
lost
fucking
Cup. My
suck.
bad. I read that wrong. They just lost Cup. I thought you
Oh,
had
they
Cup.
just lost
I was
Cup.
like, bro, you was doing it right. You're trying to get
So
Saquon. You got Diggs
check
with.
this out. To me, I'm probably leaning towards doing that deal. We don't know how long Zeke's going to be out. Maybe in the next few weeks, but Saquon is fucking filthy, and you got to assume an uptick from Sutton just based off the Jerry Jeudy injury. So if you're looking like who's more valuable between Devontae Adams and Saquon, I'm leaning Saquon right there. And I would take right now Sutton over Zeke, just off GP. So I would do that.
I'm gonna give you one more, Nico. Ask for Cooper Cup in that deal too.
Ooh, if you could get Cooper Cup in return just off
You know how I do it,
GP,
bro.
you already know, man. All right, so should I trade Burrow and Sutton for Amari Cooper in a full PPR? I have Dak on the bench. Nah, you could get more than that.
I think you can get more, but I like the deal at this stage. Like, give me Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper clears over Sutton and Burrow. You got Dak. It's a little bit of an overpay though for Amari Cooper. But when Watson comes back, you're hoping that he turns into a different type of receiver. So last
Yeah.
one. Last one. Sit one. Boyd, Garrett Wilson, Deontay Johnson, DJ Moore. Who you sitting, P?
I'm sitting DJ Moore. We got your boy coming back at QB over there this week, so I'm sitting
Baker.
DJ Moore. Baker.
I'm sitting
Uh,
Deontay.
you're sitting Deontay? Nah,
Yeah.
fuck. I'm sitting DJ Moore. Baker's back, and we know what Baker is. All right, y'all. Appreciate it. You got any last words, Jay? You want to talk about CMC, or we can say that for close?
CMC, man, I'm not really worried about his workload. A lot of people are concerned that, Kyle Shanahan came out and said that they want to split touches. I'm not really concerned about that. I think Kyle Shanahan was riding the hot hand, getting his guy back from injury as well. So getting him back in the fold. If I had to put it on a panic meter, it'd be about a 2 right now. I'm not really worried about CMC. He can do a lot of work on limited touches as well.
That's facts. Another thing you got to look at is the whole game plan was to pound the middle, especially as all those D linemen started dropping that game. So if you're going to do that, they're going to use Eli. They're going to use all their resources. So wouldn't be too worried about that. Debo, on the other hand, you can see his numbers kind of dwindling because they don't need to rush him, and also Ayuk is kind of coming into his own before
He's the wide
our
receiver one for the
eyes.
team right now.
Before our eyes, bro. You know what I mean? Jay called it. I called it a year too early, but you know what time it is. But with that being said, man, we appreciate you guys. Go follow us. Go show love. My man Jay's blowing up. Follow his page. Follow God. So you probably already are on TikTok. Show us some love. On the gram, show us some love. Follow us. PMP Fantasy. You know I'm here too, baby.
Hey.
But with that being said, man, we out. We'll catch you guys next week.
All right, peace.